Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stickity Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And today I'm going to be showcasing you guys an update on my DRAGONMAID deck profile. The reason why I wanted to do an update is because it's actually a new list that I decided to take. And I really wish that this was the list that I decided on for the YCS. Because this one's, like I said, every time I show a new list, it gets better. I'm just like scraping this stuff off my sleeve. So this one's a little bit better than the one that I previously showcased on the channel. I tweaked a little bit of the side deck and got it where I wanted it. I was really disliking some of my ratios where I just felt like I was trying to squeeze in everything that I could want a side deck, even if it was as 1 or 2 ofs, and it just wasn't like, it just wasn't realistic enough. So I did the best to keep the majority of the unfair cards that I wanted to side, tweak the main deck, and I decided to start playing hand traps in the main deck in addition to my power blowouts, my power spell blowouts, because I felt like some people were going to be on Enforcer via the artifact engine, popping their own site that they set off Dagda, and I also felt that with people wanting to play Sword Soul, being able to summon the Arch Nemesis and call Dark can really hurt my deck a lot sometimes. Yes, I can summon Winds and Lights, and a majority of my combos will start off with me summoning Winds and Lights, but cutting off Dark access prevents certain extenders like Nocto Vision and Quick Launch. It just makes it harder than it should be. And I can't summon Red and D, so it does cut off if I open a specific way, I can just keep playing without using Darks, but there's certain hands that I'll draw where I'll have 2 or 3 dead cards just because they called Dark. So no, it's not going to completely shut my turn down. The same thing with the Windbearer statue. I can summon a lot under the Windbearer statue and actually out that board with like Crystal Wing and other things of that nature. But I just really wanted to be able to prevent turn 0 plays like that and be able to stop the artifact scythe from hitting me. And it worked out because I also liked having hand traps on top of my in-board, which is just insane because my in-boards are normally very, very threatening by themselves and normally are never really outed unless somebody has a Dark Ruler no more, and that's the only time that someone nullified my negates was with Dark Ruler. Nobody actually just traditionally broke my board with the engine. I got Dark Rulered and what? I think, yeah, top 8 I got Dark Rulered, and then I got Dark Rulered, I want to say it was, yeah, against Bird Up. Those are the only 2 times that my board did get broken, and it was with the Dark Ruler. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna get into the profile. I'm gonna talk about my my matchups. I did it was 7 rounds, and then we played out top 8, and I did play a lot of meta. I don't think I played any rogue at all. But before I do that, please consider subscribing to my channel. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a dislike if you didn't like the video. Make sure you click the notification bell if you do end up subscribing. And if you want to support my channel, which I do, obviously I'm for that, become a member of my Patreon and also consider joining the Discord channel. But with that said, let's get started. So, yeah, I was just saying that kind of like a brief synopsis on like the changes I made to the deck. So I ended up playing against, so I lost to Phantom Knights, I lost to Drytrons in top 8. Really, really unfortunate. I actually want to start by talking about my top 8 loss because that was the only loss that I had control over today. That day. And so I played against Drytron. Game 1, I just outgrinded him. So like he set up an insane board. He Dark Rulered me. He set up an insane board through the Dark Ruler. He outed my board, but I actually broke through Zeus, the Dragonmaid sending, the IP, I think he had IP Masquerade and Orange Light. So I pushed through all of his interruptions with just follow-up. I have it recorded. That is the most like epic duel that I got that day, and it was in top 8. I literally broke through all of his interruptions. I actually broke his board with just my follow-up. My engine's follow-ups were so strong. They pushed through everything he had. And I ended on like 2 interruptions myself, still having follow-up after that. That's how much follow-up I had. And he tried to reestablish his board, just wasn't strong enough. He was able to push a little bit, break through my board, summon a Herald, and he had 1 fairy and a follow-up. And then he used his 1 negate. I just broke through his board. He scooped. Game 2, he wombo comboed. I drew droplets. I drew 2 droplets, actually. I drew 2 droplets and another non-engine card. And like a Ravine. I drew like Ravine Remus, which was like good, but not that great. I needed like a normal summon, like an impactful normal summon starter. And so what ended up happening was after I dropleted him, I couldn't droplet Well, I could have, but I didn't pay attention. He summoned a Magic-y fusion monster. No, Magic Key Ritual monster that searched the counter trap, which is really cool. That was like his Dark Ruler No More protection. So I was able to push a little bit. I got to droplets. But one thing that I neglected was that his Mew Beta Fafnir had a spell Trap Negate because that Magic Key was a machine. I didn't know it was a machine, but I should have asked. This is where you guys are going to see that in top 8, I had brain farts. And I was actually tired. That I just really don't like that feeling though. Like the overlooking things that I normally don't overlook. I'm normally always inquisitive about my opponent's field, what the cards do, what their effects are, and I look at them. You know, I'll ask them, can they turn the card so I can read it? But I just wasn't really asking any questions. You know, I just kind of dozed off in the middle of him comboing because I didn't really have anything to stop him. No, I did nip him and he orange lighted it, so I had that. And after that, he was playing solitaire, so I kind of started dozing through his combo, and I didn't pay too much attention. So I messed up on that. Game 3, we went into turns. So there's not time in top 8, we went into turns. So it came down to, I made a board, he broke my board. Then he made a board, I broke his. I nipped him. And then I was able, on my very last turn, I put 5,900 damage on board and made a seal with Nib on field. And so, you know, if I was in my right mind, more or less, if I was like more sharp and intuitive mentally, my play would have been Tribute Nib, Tribute Seal, Bounce Nib, Summon Sloth, lock him out his extra deck. He has to commit to try and kill me. I drop Nib and kill him. Because the only thing that he was going to get him out of that situation was Natasha. You guys are going to watch this video. I'm going to upload that in the top 8 in Game 3 that he had Natasha. And that was the only way he was going to be able to make a play. And by me doing that specific interaction of Seal bouncing my Nib and summoning Sloth, the only monster he could target with Natasha is Sloth. Meaning he could only activate Natasha once. That's it. And he can't use his extra deck, so he has to summon whatever he can summon. But the thing was, he had to resolve all of his Drytrons to get the resources to even summon Draconids. And even if he could summon Draconids without playing into Nib, he was only going to be able to put, 5,000 damage on board. And I had him at 29, and I was at, no, actually, he could have acted in Natasha, so yeah. But there was just no way of him not playing into Nib. And that's the point. You guys will see it. I think he summoned like 8 or 9 times. And so what happened was, me being the goofball I am, not making the play that I should have, and that I noticed that play afterwards, and I told him, I was like, dang, you know, I really, because I played Deception, that's my boy, so we can talk like that. After we're done, I explained to him, I was like, oh, you know, I really threw my game against you, I should have bounced my Nib, because I bounced a defense Drytron, I wasn't even thinking, I was like, I don't even know what was going on in my mind, but yeah, I threw it, and I ended up losing that game. But I waxed almost everybody else except my other loss, which was PKs, which was pretty crazy, actually. I played against Trap Eldritch. That was a body. I played against the Bird deck. I played against... I'm trying to remember. I know I played against Infernoids. I believe I played against some Invoked Dolls. Man, I have to go through the duel videos again and see everything I played. But I was actually... me and the PK guy were the only undefeateds in the room when I played against him. It was like in round 6, so I actually was up 5 games. I was undefeated until round 6, and that's when I took my first L. So yeah, I was doing really good. Like, yes, I did not win the event, so sure, you know, you can take that little credit away from me and say, oh, you're not that great because you didn't win the event, but to be honest, I made it, and that's all that mattered at the end of the day. So let's get into the profile, you guys. I'm sorry. So far the pulls have, I'm going to open the rest of these packs on the video, but so far the pulls, I mean, no secrets, nothing crazy, some ultras, some Flundery stuff, so far so good. But let's get into the profile. So I'm going to try and make it quick because I've covered this information multiple times, and I'm so sorry to those of you who are just really in a rush to get the deck list and want to go. But if you really are in a rush to get the deck list, there's a DRAGONMAID deck profile I put on the laptop that you can just grab that and go. But I feel like deck profiles are valuable, not because of the list that people provide, but because of everything that comes with the profile outside of the list. That's what makes it a deck profile. So let's get started. So for my starters, we have 3 copies of Remus. So this is how like you also beat Nibiru. Like I talked about this in my last profile. This card single-handedly just like it puts up a negate on the 5th summon. Funny enough, I actually was drawing so insane. Like, I put up Crystalwing, then I summoned Shao, then I made Romulus and did my Heretic combo with the Tomb with an Omni Negate and a Monster Negate. I mean, it was so, my hands were so insane. Like, Oh my goodness, I remember I put up 4 interruptions through Droll. I talents to take a card out of the hand, got Droll, put up 4 interruptions. I mean, oh man, I was cutting up, you guys. I was definitely on one. Rimus, like I said, beats Nib. The card trades extremely well with hand traps because when people do hand trap him, his graveyard effect comes up as an extender, so he lets you eat through more hand traps. It also is valuable in that regard because those situations will come up where they will hand trap Rimus. People do that a lot. Or they'll wait for Ravine's discard for cost. Then they'll hand trap the Romulus. Those are like the choke points that people think the deck has, but in reality, the whole combo that I'm doing was something that I was not even doing in Dragon Maids in the first place. So as you can imagine, I've always been able to combo without these new cards. These are a new addition, but I was already going undefeated for 5 weeks in a row with no Dragoonity cards. So if that makes sense, I can always combo without the Dragoonity cards because I've been playing the deck without the Dragoonity cards longer than I have been playing with the Dragoonity cards. But people will hit this, they'll hit Romulus, you'll just use this, summon it, and then make seal, and then you'll combo with the seal up the whole time. This card's really, really insane, you guys. Rimus is crazy. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, there's so many interactions where people are holding their hand traps just thinking, oh, I gotta hold it. Like, if you don't open, like, 2 high impacts plus, like, a Ash, like, Nib, Ash, Imperm's a pretty good combination, but if you're opening all these low impacts like Ash, Imperm, Veiler, Ghost Bell, like, this deck just eats those. It actually just chews through those just consistently. Like, there's just crazy stuff. Like, you go Tribute for Mistleton, and your opponent's like, ha ha ha, you know, I Imperm, and you're like, okay, I just make Crystal Wing. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. More starters, 3 Ravines. Keeping this up makes your follow-ups pretty scary, because a lot of the times I will combo and not even use my Rocket card. Sometimes I just don't overextend. I'm like, I've got 2 negates, 2 bounces, a hand trap, and an insane follow-up. I basically got 5 interruptions and a floodgate that locks them out their extra deck. I feel good, so I just hold the Rockets, and leaving the Ravine up and not activating launch just makes your follow-ups just insane, so that even if they Dark Roller break your board, like, your Ravine is there unless they Zeus it away. Like, your Ravine's there, that's a follow-up. All your graveyard follow-ups, the Rocket engine that you haven't used, the Boot Sector launch, like, you have all this gas. It's just crazy. So, like, Ravine left on field is like added pressure. Like, if your opponent doesn't out this can just be used to dump cards like Armogram. Armogram can trade with a negate. You can dump Absolute Searcher Rockets. You can dump Tempest, and then banish the Tempest for the Armogram's effect to summon. And even if they negate Armogram, which I'll have to either negate its on-field or graveyard effect because it will negate something, you get Tempest to search like a Parlor or a Remus. It's insane. Like, if you guys see what happens when, like, I play this deck, my boards will get broken, and I'll literally just remake another board in the process of breaking the board my opponent made after they broke mine. It's crazy. But anyway, sorry about that. This deck just gets me going. So 4 copies of Parlor. So I'm valuing Parlor a little bit more than Chamber, but I'm still playing 3 Chambers. So Chamber has a bit more, like, each of them have their own level of diversity. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to finish the starters. We have 3 copies of Black Metal. I put 1 for 1 in extenders now because it's like more of an extender than a starter. I use it like an extender just to play through hand traps. 2 Tracer, 1 Recharger. Sometimes I really want to play another target. It actually has came up before. It's Space. I know I play 60 cards, but Space is an issue for me. The 1 Nurse to round up the starters. And so, like, the reason why I'm starting to value Parlor more is because people side roll against me all the time, right? Every chance they get. And one thing with Parlor, like, Chamber can do this too, but just not without searching, is Parlor can put up a negate before you search. So, like, this also makes it to where Parlor and Chamber can outwinda. I talked about that in the last video, but yeah, these are normal summons that can make your first special summon a 3500 beat stick that's an Omni negate, attack over Winda, kill it, and then combo in main phase 2. So what Parlor also can do is the same thing. You can put up Shao without searching because she accesses changeover without adding from deck to hand, whereas Chamber can do that, but you will get drolled. So yes, Chamber trades with Droll extremely well because she always gives you an interruption even through Droll. So she's like the perfect card to start with when you're trying to play around Droll. But Parlor puts you in a situation, puts your opponent in a situation like if they have Droll and they don't have another high impact hand trap, then you can sometimes just let Droll resolve and just make seal and just keep playing that way. It depends how you open, because your deck is equipped to out cards like There Can Be Only One, Rivalry, Goes In, Mystic Mind, Zombie World. Your deck's equipped to beat even Dimension Shifter, Lancia, Droll, Nibiru, all the hand traps, floodgates like Winda. You are equipped to deal with everything that it really wouldn't matter that threatens you. including the fully established bird boards and the fully established like Dragon Link boards, you know. I mean, for Drytron, you kind of have to open a blowout or hand trap them because they'll normally have like 5 fairies to negate your whole hand. But your deck is equipped to deal with the situations that are choke points to me. And whether or not you draw the cards, it's the fact that the cards are in your main deck and you don't even have to worry about accessing your side deck to deal with those situations. So the fact that your deck can beat Droll consistently, that you can outwind it, that you can put up an Omni Negate before you even do the big portion of your combo, which means you can consistently have outs to Nibiru, have outs to just so many different hand trap combinations. Like, you'll even be comboing, and I'll sometimes think, well, he has to have Nibiru, Imperm, Ash with Ghost Bell. And if he doesn't have Ghost Bell, but he has Nibiru, Ash with Imperm, then I can still end on Seal with Tidying. Which Seal Tidying through 3 hand traps is insane. So, like, you'll really start playing and sequencing your plays in a sense where, like, you know that they will have hand traps because that's just how I play. I play as if my opponent always has them. But if they don't have that specific hand trap combination that I know would work on my plays or the way I'm sequencing it, then they're not going to stop my turn at all. And this deck is just equipped to do that. And it just makes it, like, in my opinion, one of the best combo decks. Like, this is a combo deck I choose even over Drytrons. And I have a full power Drytron deck actually under this table. So yeah, all the starters. Black Metal is probably, I would say, has the least residual value out of all of the normal summons because it is a play that you can only do once, and after that, every Black Metal is essentially dead. I am maximizing on it because these are all 1-card starters. These are 1-card OTKs. You can kill your opponent with these cards by themselves. They are 1 card that makes Romulus, which trades with the hand trap, and you can just keep comboing. I mean, these are your 1-card starters, like all of these. These are extra normal summons that are dragons, which means you can still combo with them. So these are like your weaker starters. But these are the ideal ones that you want to open. But I will say, I equate this deck's consistency to that of Phantom Knights and Infernobles and Gokis, because 2 dragons on field basically gets you so far with this deck that as long as you're able to just keep vomiting out cards, basically just putting bodies on field, you'd be surprised how many hand traps you can trade with when they do not get rid of the cards from the field. So continuing on with the extenders, we have 3 copies of Quick Launch. So Quick Launch, World Legacy, and Nocto specifically, like, almost nullify a hand trap on your normal summon. So like Ash, Valor, Imperm, even Cypher and Gear Gamma in certain instances, it's just insane. Nocto Vision is the only card that chain blocks Romulus, and it also protects your Tiding, which is ridiculous. That's something else I actually forgot about. That's how jacked up I was. That my opponent, my Drytron opponent, normal summon the Diviner, dumped Elder, targeted my back row. I had Nocto Engrave, and I didn't even use Nocto, you guys. That was just really, really sad. That's how you knew I was off, because I'm normally very on point with this stuff. I know my cards so well, I've been playing them so long, but my energy, you know, like mentally, I would feel like I was more mentally exhausted than physically, even though I was pretty tired. But yeah, these cards just let you play through hand traps a lot better than other extenders. Oh my goodness, because like they continue to put the body on field, but also the bodies they put normally replace themselves and rotate into other cards. Nocto is just superior in my opinion. But the thing with Quick Launch and World Legacy is they're less susceptible to certain interruptions. Like Nocto can be good if your opponent doesn't like Phoenix Enforcer your normal summon, for example, but these are still going to be good even if they do pop your normal, which some people do, even though I don't think it's correct, because this deck naturally doesn't have a normal summon choke point. But normal summon Black Metal looks really good to people, so they will pop it, and you know, it's just free real estate for you. Then I'm playing 2 copies of Hospitality, 1-1-for-1. I'm playing Red MD, Dragoonity Glow, Dragoonity Armogram, Tempest, Absolrouter, Legatus, and Boot Sector Launch for the rest of my extenders. So you can see I always play a healthy amount of starters and a healthy amount of extenders for a very good reason. I like to open multiples of each. If I just draw 1 starter and a couple extenders, I'm okay. Sometimes drawing multiple starters is good too, because cards like the Dragonmaids, even just Black Metal, normally 1 starter can always get the rest of your starters out of your hand. So like Parlor plus Chamber, they each insert a card or dump a card that can summon the other one. Black Metal plus any starter is good because Red MD can summon it from hand. So it's okay to draw multiple starters. You actually want to do that. It's really, really good. So each extender kind of diminishes in value as you get lower and lower. Red MD, I would say if we stop right here, these are top notch. These play through hand traps better than these other ones. Like what these do is just put bodies on field that are good in certain scenarios, but they require a little setup. This requires for you to control Rocket. This requires for you to control Ravine. This obviously requires for you to have a rocket. This requires for you to have a graveyard setup as well as these, because Glow is an extender because it can search Armorgram, and that has come up for me. That actually, if you guys see my duel against Drytrons, this actually put in work because so I ended up putting 2 dragons on field in a really weird scenario because all I had was quick launch plus tidying to summon DRAGONMAID Lorper from my hand. So I didn't even have that much, like, you know, engine. And I just put 2 dragons on the field, made Romulus search Glow, activated Glow, added this, summoned this, and then I used Romulus to attack the Nibiru token. I used Nibiru to hit for 3k, and this to hit for 29. And that's how I put him at 2100 before I'd made my seal and passed. So yes, Dragoonity Glow is an extender because it searches Armorgram, which is a really, really big deal. It also helps when you draw Mistleton, so that way this still has a target, because you need this to be engraved for your combo to work. But it's okay to draw certain cards in this deck that look like bricks. It's just how you use them. Tempest is insane. Not gonna lie, Tempest is pretty cracked. Via Gold Sark, or also just its recursion, just constantly summoning itself and then just bouncing back to hand, so that way next turn you can just discard it and search. And then the turn after that, because you can only use 1 effect each turn, you can just summon it, and it's just like a recurable body that's an extender that replaces itself and also can search out your engine if you just pitch it in a win. And as you can imagine, I play so many wins that comes up a lot for me. I wish Tempest was at 3, because I would definitely play 3 Tempest. I think it's a very, very crazy card. It's one of the best extenders in the deck. So yeah, that's it for extenders. If you guys didn't know, Armorgram's effect when it kills monsters by battle is actually insane. It comes up so much. Killing Rusty and equipping Rusty to Armorgram to prevent follow-ups off of Fogblade. Killing stuff like Drytron names is a big deal. Killing stuff like Tri-Brigade monsters just to equip them to him. I mean, this card just really, really cracked. He's just so good. Like, you can make plays with no extra deck in this deck. Like, your main deck just has so much going for it. And then the rest of my main engine, 3 Tidying, Changeover. I really missed the days when I was playing 2 Changeover and 3 Hospitality, but the more I add in the terms of tech cards, the more I have to take out. And since the Dragonmaids took the most space in my deck, because this is a Dragonmaid deck, I felt like cutting some extra copies of the same cards I already had was better than taking out stuff like these packages, because the Rocket package is so super small, and the Dragoonity package, really, there's nothing I can cut that wouldn't hurt me except like Armorgram. So, you know, the maids just had the most space. So I cut Kitchen absolutely from the deck. I cut Hospitality down to 2 because I was drawing less maid targets, so it would be less of a dead draw. And I cut Changeover to 1. This one's the one that hurts the most because sometimes you want to search it in your follow-up, so that way when you're using your follow-ups to break your opponent's board, if they negate the graveyard effect to bounce, because they kind of have to, you can just search another one off chamber and then activate it. That has come up a lot in the past when I was running it. Luckily, it doesn't come up as much, and it's never got banished. Otherwise, it would just hurt. And then these cards are also part of the maid engine. So Ernest is an extender. Funny enough, it does come up. I remember using this to summon Chamber to search for a downtime against the Zombie World deck. And then Lurper is a Force Negate going second. It just basically is like a Shaddoll Genius that you activate from hand, so it trades really well with negates like Appaloosa, Macabre, you name it, and then it's recurable value from grave. And because you can keep looping this back to your hand every turn, that's why your engine's follow-up can break boards, because cards like this, your Tiding Engrave, your Changeover Engrave, the Hospitality you search on standby, your Floaters Engrave, your Rocket Engine, the Dragoonity cards that you get, it's just so much pressure, it's ridiculous. So that's the rest of the Dragonmaids. And then these are cards that I really don't like drawing, these 3, but I can combo with all of them. I can combo with this, it's also a Shao target, which is really cool. This is also a Shao target, and when I draw this, I've even just done the Romulus to search Glow and just use Armorgram as an extender, and then just summon this anyways, and the Armorgram was just like the other Glow target. And then this is still good too when you Gaydirk and it's add, and you can just pitch this in its free value. This is probably the worst card to draw though, because if you can't make Gaydirk, it's always going to stay dead, but these you can combo with him even if you don't have access to Gaydirk. So this is probably like the only true brick that I can't use no matter what, but it's worth it because this is why I can make Crystal Wing on my 5th summon to beat Nibiru. And speaking of, I'm playing Nib now, so I started playing hand traps, and these are like the best ones in my opinion. I like Ash, but I really wanted to be able to stop the Nemesis card. I felt like cards that would stop the Nemesis cards would be Nib and Imperm. Like I can Imperm it on summon, hold my negates, or I could just Nib, right? Because Nib is so good. It normally when they have those hands, if they weren't able to put Flare, Bareness the Flare up first and then combo, you know, they normally just don't have the resources to play around Nib. So, like, these were like the hand traps I was playing to basically stop Nemesis, which doesn't end my turn, but it makes it harder to play. And these are also the cards that beat the Artifact Dagda, or I can just nib them. Like, they can summon Enforcer and I can just nib them, and all they'll get is, you know, Enforcer. Because, like, on summon of Dagda, I will activate Nib. I won't even let them set Scythe, just as the offset chance that they can get away to Enforcer and still pop Scythe on my standby or draw phase and lock me on my extra. And then the rest of the defensive cards slash going second cards are the Talents and the Droplets. So I can main deck more because I can actually cut one of my Ravines and my Gold Sark. I can even cut 1-for-1 because those are just extra copies of cards that I already have just to make my deck more consistent. But my deck can afford to lose 2 or 3 starters to get more hand traps if I needed it. And moving forward, I feel like maybe some Ash Blossoms in the main would be good. Because they're also, it's insane to open these when you actually have full combo, because it makes Dark Ruler less impactful as well. So yeah, you guys, I didn't cover all the grounds that I normally cover, but if you guys have seen my DRAGONMAID deck profiles, I feel like you guys just know, you know a lot of the stuff that I don't say has already been said before. So yeah, it just did really, really good, you guys, honestly. I did my best to prepare for what I knew was going to matter, and all the other stuff, I just didn't worry about it. Like, weird, random rogue decks, because I just had a feeling nobody was bold enough to take rogue to that tournament, and I was right. I didn't play any rogue decks. It was all meta. So for extra deck, we have probably the MVP. Like, Xiao is so insane. This card is just crazy. Like, this card put in so much work. This is another card I used against the established Drytron board after he killed my Xiao, because I draw phase Tidying to summon Xiao, which was insane. Like, oh my goodness, it was so insane, because he didn't have any Spell Trap negates, just Monster Disruptions. Summon Xiao, and then I went standby, activate Xiao, and like, it put so much pressure, because like, if he Orange Light, I could just change Xiao anyways, which was ridiculous, because then I would eat 2 interruptions with 1 Xiao, because he would have to either just let Xiao resolve to negate the Orange Light, which means I took Orange Light and still put a DRAGONMAID on field, or just use 2 interruptions on the card that got summoned off of my Tidying, which already got used on him. So it's just so much value. Summoning this card from your Grave on follow-up is super impactful when you're breaking boards, including summoning this off of Chamber. Like, I've done that, let it die. It's just ridiculous, you guys. Like, this card is so good. This is MVP. It lets you just out-resource a lot of decks. Once it hits the field, it's very, very downhill because it snowballs. The house is to pair with it. I just love this. Whenever you're running low on house, like if you're down to your last copy, you can sometimes just change over it back and it's okay. Because changeover bounces itself to hand, and if you do, you return that. And you'll just have another target for Xiao to keep negating. It doesn't really come up, but it's there for when it does. Furious MVP, put in a lot of work. I had to play through the whole bird board. It was Zeus and the Ensemble Robin, I think, that thingy. And I think he had an Ash too. And all I could do after it was just end on this. And I just did the best I could to stay alive. Then we have Striker, Pisty. Pisty's OP. Striker going second. When you're making links with your rockets, it's really cool that you can make cards like Romulus, they can hand trap it, and you just use the Boot Sector launch to bring back the rocket you use as link material to make it, and it just lets you play through hand traps better. So Boot Sector going second is pretty crazy when you're link climbing with rocket monsters to just get that extra value. You could literally just, it's so insane. Double Seal, sometimes I want 3, but it doesn't come up as much because as long as you can make Xiao and follow up, Xiao's almost just as good as Seal. I just like Seal to access my my Amorphage Sloth. One thing that I wanted to change moving forward too was playing Kawakima or Draco again, because that's another thing. If I had Draco, because I took it out and I'm mad that I did because I'm going right back to it. If I had Draco, I would have just, that Drytron matchup, well, it would have just been free. I would have just literally sealed, like literally just seal for Draco and game. That's it. That's it. Like, you can't even tribute Benton. It's just stupid. Like, you're not outing it. We have 1 Boar Sword. Just kill people with this. Like, this deck, you can just set up like Xiao, Savage, and Crystal Wing, and Boar Sword. It's just overkill. It's ridiculous. Speaking of Crystal Wing, MVP. I remember against Striker, this got impermed, I got Veilered, and then nibbed. And I had a play to just Pisty this back since it was properly summoned, and I was like, dang, this is the best I can do. But actually kept peeping game and knowing what deck he was on, I decided to hold my follow-ups because I was like, man, he has to have like Rose and then like a really good hand on top of that to keep playing. And I ended up beating the Striker player. Striker can be rough just because of the amount of hand traps they can play, because they can play a couple high impact ones, but if they don't draw them, it's really hard for their engine to break your board because you can sloth them. So even if they like use their power spells and, you know, cut your negates off, if you have sloth with tiding, it's insane. Like they normal summon Ray, you tribute seal for cost. They're like chain Ray, summon, you know, and you still bounce, and then they're like Ray effect from grave, and you summon sloth, and they're like, okay, battle phase, and you're just like trap bounce the Ray, and they're behind a turn now. And you can just either tribute your sloth over or just keep it there because you have enough pressure. Scarlight for time, just make side deck space. I normally side it, but now I'm putting in an extra deck for side deck space. I actually won 2 games off of this. You just need a win condition in time, and this is one of the reasons why I value this over Shaddolls in long tournaments, because Shaddolls don't have a win condition in time, unless I'm playing pure Shaddolls, because pure Shaddolls specifically via the cross sheep combo can make Gaga Cowboy, but only if they open up the combo with like able to summon Construct and summon Aerial and flip it with the trap. And then Gator cards is just insane. Like, people have impermed this, then I brought it back, activated it again. It's just so stupid. This card is just nuts. It literally lets you see your whole engine even if you don't draw engine. And then 1 Heretic. Oh my goodness. It's LP, you guys. It's insane. So now let's open these packs. Yeah, let's see. We are lit. Okay. So I'm gonna just open the packs, I guess, on another video. Well, if it cuts off, it cuts off. Sorry about that, you guys. But yeah, let's do the best we can, because the video might actually cut off. Just letting you guys know ahead of time. And if the video cuts off, I might just post what my packs were, you know, the pulls from them. So let's see. We're trying to get. Okay, that's cool. I'm trying to get a secret, like a good one. Like if I get it. Nah, I don't want that. Never mind. I do, but I don't. So nah. I think Impin's just better to pick up than to pull, because I want to pull something that's valuable that I don't need just to flip it. So let's see. So far, okay, that's an Ultra. I'm trying to just speed through these packs the best I can. Suship, okay. Come on. Ooh, Sun Avalon card. Come on. These are looking better already. Okay, super. Let's see. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Ultimate flagship Usarktron. Okay. Come on. Oh, please. I already have 3 maps. Dang. Come on, Secret. Stop playing with me. I already have the Eaglins. Come on. Last pack. Let's go. No! I already have 3 of that too. Oh, it was a bust. You guys. Oh no.